Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Wednesday. This is your host of the MORE Listings Mastermind, a real estate podcast, Robert Weichelt. Power, growth, and momentum. That is what the MORE Listings Mastermind is all about. It starts with this week's MORE Listings Mastermind. So with that said, I always like to start off with an important quote. The only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. Let that sink in for a little bit. The only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. And that was Vince Lombardi quoted that. So with that said, every single Wednesday we meet, we go into the steps to get more listings. That's really what it's all about. Grow your listing inventory. You're going to grow your buyers, your investors, and your team. So tune in each week. Wednesday is 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. You can go to morenowlistings.com. So with that said, let's get right into the program. I always each week have my partner, my buddy, Tim Yates, founder of My Legacy Link. And I'd like to introduce you to Tim and some of the great things he's doing. So, Tim, welcome to the show.
I appreciate you having me, my friend, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So, tell us a little bit about, real quickly, who Tim Yates is.
Yeah, so Tim Yates is a guy that founded an estate planning firm. Actually, we're more of a technology firm now. Nearly a decade ago, boy, time is flying. With my wife Carrie, who is she's our firm's lead attorney, and we've really been focusing on building a business that is disrupting the estate planning industry. And we've been doing that really by working closely with real estate professionals. And a lot of people have asked me, why are you developing this business model to work with real estate professionals? Well, the reality is this: real estate professionals, in most cases, already have a seat at the table with the homeowners. And so for us, it is about helping people protect their homes. And as a matter of fact, let's talk about some numbers real quick. Specifically here in the state of California, 87.3% of all homeowners do not have a living trust. That equates to 9 out of 10 people in a typical agent's database that do not have a living trust. So it is a huge market opportunity. It's an opportunity to help a tremendous amount of people. And really, there's two main reasons why those numbers are the way they are. Number one is homeowners are looking for dependable and affordable solutions for their estate plan and needs. So we've simplified the process, and we've most importantly made it extremely affordable for everybody. So no more people are going to say, "Hey, Robert, yeah, I know I need that, but I'm not going to spend $3, $4, $5,000 right now." And because I'm healthy, I'm young, I'm justifying that. So we've developed a system that we call the Legacy Listing System, and it's really designed to help agents get more listings, which in turn it helps us get more trusts. It's a perfect relationship, and it's something that, again, I'm excited to be a part of with you.
So don't forget, click that QR code. And this allows you to sign up for the free training. I want to repeat, free training, no cost for the training. This sets you up for the free training so you can really be knowledgeable about estate planning, how to reach out to your clients, how to build that. And we have a webinar each Tuesday, 12 p.m. Pacific, and we run for just a half an hour, and it's a great, more in-depth. I recommend you reach out, hit this QR code. And Tim, thank you so much. My Legacy Link is really helping a lot of my agents and my customers, so thank you for that. And stick around so you can chime in, because I know you, with your extensive background as a team lead and somebody that's really knowledgeable about real estate, I would love to have you chime in. So thanks for hanging around, and we'll certainly do a Q&A towards the end, and let's take it from there. So let's get started with our program. Our number one goal is to, again, create more listings for folks. And today's topic: how to create your 2026 business plan. It sounds weird, Tim, saying 2026. My goodness, we're just a month away from the year being over, and so many agents don't start their business plan until the first of the year. In my opinion, it takes at least 30 days minimum to create a really good comprehensive game plan. So my goal today with this session is to walk you through the steps that I walk through, things that I've done over my 40-year plus career and really thrown into a blender. And I'm going to share that with you today. So with that said, let's get started. So before we forget, get out your pen, your paper, and your notepad. I like to have a nice highlighter with me too, because we're going to talk about a lot of stuff that you're going to think, I need to have more clarity on that. We're going to go over goals. We're going to go over roadmaps to success. So I just want to thank you for being here today. And again, we meet every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. You can join us live at morenowlistings.com. Okay, let's get started. First things first, do you need goals? This is a rhetorical question. That answer is always yes. But another thing you need to ask yourself is, do you feel too much stress in your life? Do you wish you had more focus? Do you wish you had more balance? I think we all kind of think back and go, yeah, you know what? I do have a little stress in my life. I think life is stressful regardless. Doesn't matter if you have a ton of money, no money, or anything in between. Stress is always kind of a part of the real estate business and life in that matter. Focus. Are we stressed out so we can't have focus? Are we stressed out enough to we don't feel like we have balance, like going to, exercising or eating right, or, your family and all the things we need to have balance, but we certainly need goals in our life. And I think it's recommended that we write those goals down and really dive into what's our action plan to get that handled. With that said, so many people are considering their 2025 performance. Well, looking back, a lot of times they do this during the holidays and they look back at what was last year, what worked, what didn't. It's always important to find out what didn't work because you don't want to do that again. You really want to find out so you don't do it again. But more importantly, you want to find out what worked and do that and 10x it. What changes are we going to make that we recognized in 2025? What in-flight adjustments are we going to make for 2026? Think about that. Write that down. What are you going to do differently from 2025 to 2026? And you know what's funny, Tim? Most people don't even look back. They just keep on trucking and they keep doing the same thing over and over. And I think that's the definition of insanity. So let's continue. Number one, this is a big deal. I talk to agents all over the country every single week, and they're wasting a lot of time behind the computer. They may have good intentions of working on a project. Let's say diving into the MLS to run some comparable sales for a new listing. Well, the next thing you know, you're pulling up comps in an area that you don't even work. You're looking at all the photos. You're getting ideas. You're doing all these things. The next thing you know, you're an hour and a half plus down this rabbit hole. My buddy Mike Dale once called it monkey brain. Next thing you know, you're looking at cat videos on Instagram. So are you wasting time in front of the computer? Ask yourself that. Be honest with yourself. Number two, are you a specialist? A niche. For example, I like to work with the for sale by owner, the expired and canceled, notice of default, notice of trustee, working with probate attorneys, divorce attorneys. I'm a big fan of being the mayor of my community, getting involved in local business events, whether it be a grand opening at a new restaurant or a barber shop I just went to recently. So you diving into your community, but what's your niche? Are you farming? Are you calling? What are you doing in terms of getting involved in businesses that might be relocating? Think about that. So really what you need to write down is, do you have a niche for your marketing? Do you have a productive farm, social network? Farming, for those of you that don't know, is taking an area. I personally like to farm the area in which I live. I'll take 2,500 plus homes in the area. Now, it's not the only thing I do, but it's something that's super important because the last thing you want to do is drive down your street and see a listing from one of your neighbors with one of your competitors. Dive into your productive farm, and also don't forget about your social networking. Social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, those types of things. You need to have some nice balance with that. Now, you're going to get a lot of business if you're out there working and making the contacts, calling the FISBO, calling the expired, reaching out to your database. You're going to need to put them somewhere. I cannot tell you how many agents that I talk to on a daily basis that don't have their CRM dialed in. And I got to be honest, I have my CRM probably running at 20, 30% of max capacity. So it's something we're always working on. My wife, Carla, and I are always working on our database. Starts with having a database. Number one, we use KV Core now called Bold Trail. And we have a coach on our team that'll walk you through how to use the CRM. Most agents don't use the CRM, Tim, because they don't know how to use it. And the only good CRM is when you're going to use. So having drip systems in place working when you're not. This is a big thing I see for agents a lot. Spend money and time wisely. A lot of agents just are a big paycheck and they go and do all the things they wanted to do and they don't think about the big picture. You know, if we're spending money on stupid shit, that is the killer of business. We do it all the time. Us agents, they target us to sell us every shiny object known to man, the latest and greatest in CRMs, the latest and greatest in landing pages and websites and this and that. And oh my gosh, spend time wisely as well as spending your money wisely. And also, I think the biggest thing we want to work out is we want to look for things that don't cost anything. For example, meetup groups. Become a community leader by having a meetup group. Start your own. Start having coffee in the community at your local coffee shop. That doesn't cost you anything. All you're doing is having coffee anyway. My bride and I, we go have coffee and we'll go out and send a bunch of invites to neighbors. We'll be at coffee at 8 o'clock at Simple Coffee up on Navajo. Come on and join us. Let's have a community conversation. Think of ways like that. So just an idea. Now, are you the market leader in your area? If you're not, you need to be. You need to plan for the success in 2020. You need to design a real estate business plan. And you need to look at it on an annual basis, but you also need to have your vision boards and all those things up. But you need to look at it. If you have a gross income, for example, divide that by 365, and that's your daily income. Divide that by 12, that's your monthly income. You need to break it down, and how you're going to hit those goals. Next thing, let's go over the goals. Let's talk about that. What do you want in your life? Why do you want it? You know, you got to be positive about your future. So many times, we all have gone through this. I'll say I go to a family member. Thanksgiving's around the corner here. What, tomorrow, matter of fact. And Thanksgiving, and somebody will come over and say, we want to buy a motorhome. This happened 2 years ago when we traveled across the country in our motorhome. We want to buy a motorhome. Here's exactly what it looks like. This is what the interior looks like. This is what the exterior looks like. This is all the features that it has to have. This is the cost. This is the down payment. We need to have all of it to make it come true. And sure enough, we just sold our motorhome after 2 years traveling the country in our motorhome. My point is, have your goals, but write down a specific plan on how you're going to tackle those goals. You need to write them down and organize your goals: health, relationship, finance, business, and personal. Read your goals when you wake up. Read your goals when you go to sleep. Always have them top of mind. Focus on your goals, visualize on your goals. Goals is number one. Number two, focus. Focus, focus, focus. We all need more focus. Right on the goal that you're focusing on. I find that a lot of people set too many goals, so it's unclear. Really focus in on your goals. Schedule time for focus. I use in the morning. I get up at 5:30. I wake up. I get my coffee. I do my gratitude. I do my mind work. I get focused. I look at the day and what it's going to be, and I just get ready because I need that extra time. I can't just wake up and jump on the desk. You need to be fired up mentally first. You need to delete and eliminate interruptions. Delete distractions. Avoid urgent tasks. That's a big thing. You got clients that always calling you late at night and want something done right this second. We need to eliminate that. We need to set expectations so we can avoid that. So focus on your goals, number two. Number three, plan your life. Define your future. 1 hour spent planning is worth 5 hours of doing. Think about that. Plan your life. Balance. I tell you, when I was a younger realtor, I had no balance. All they did is, those shoes, they're called New Balance. Well, I had the no balance shoes. And I think the biggest thing is we need to make sure that we have balance in our life. My wife would be the first one to tell you I was all off. And I think as you get older, you start being more balanced. Decide which categories you just want to spend more time and attention on. If you're lacking in, say, family, start spending more time. Maybe have Sunday family night where everybody comes over, whoever's available, and have come over and play cards or enjoy dinner and just enjoy conversations. It doesn't have to be such a pain, but we need to make sure we're replugging in. I can tell you this, with our adult children, it's difficult to get more time with them. So balances that. Balances habits. Here's a big thing. Change your habits to change your life. Delete the bad habits. I'm not trying to preach. I'm just saying if there are things you should be doing, stop doing them. You've heard the term, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's all about changing your habits. So if you're trying to lose weight, don't keep running to the fridge and eating things you shouldn't eat. As an example, that's what I do when I get nervous or stressed. I'll go eat something. I can't tell you, I'm nowhere near the fighting weight. Carl and I have just gone back to the gym, but I digress. My point is, replace the bad habits with the good habits. Repeat that new habit 20 times to make it actually stick. That's a big deal. So what are your habits? Take a look at your habits. Write those down. Number 6, the perfect day. The perfect day is what you do between the time you wake up and the time you go to bed. We all go to sleep and we all wake up in the morning. That's the goal. Number one goal is to wake up every morning. You win right there. Wake up, get fired up, get excited, own your mornings. I find when I own my morning, my days are fantastic. I find when I oversleep or I'm sluggish, maybe went to sleep the night before late, or I couldn't sleep or whatever, and I wake up sluggish, I find that it's not as powerful. We want to make sure we wake up and be powerful. So put it on your calendar. The time you want to wake up to the time you go to bed. Define your perfect day in detail. Okay. I think it's important that we get on routines. I can't tell you how when I was a kid, every night I had to go to bed at the same time. My mother was a routine. She loved it. So wake up at the same time every day, go to bed at the same time every night. That allows you to have a routine. Even on the weekends, maybe you can kind of slack around a little bit on the weekend mornings, but do you want to get ahead? Maybe we can tackle a few days where Saturday becomes a work day. My dad always told me when I was younger, I had 2 young children at the time, and we were driving to the beach and it's like noon, and I'd call my dad from my car phone. When I first got a car phone, I thought it was pretty special. I'd call him up and said, Dad, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I'm at the office working. I said, oh, really? I'm heading to the beach with the kids. He goes, what? Every day you're not working is you're not earning. I mean, he was really a work 6 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, Monday through Sunday. So what does your perfect day look like? We need to put in there prospecting for clients. We need to put in there reaching out to our database. We need to have the things that matter on our calendars as an appointment. Scheduling that's key. Okay. Here's the big thing. Here's one thing I do is I like to overcomplicate it. So I think the biggest way to do it is simplify your life by deleting and eliminating negative energy. You can have a family member, it's almost Thanksgiving, and you can have a family member say, oh, you want to do this? No way, you can't do it. Then don't share your goals with people that aren't going to be supportive and a cheerleader for you. Simplify your life, delete the relationship that, you don't have to miss your family, but my point is if you have somebody in the family as you're going into Thanksgiving, maybe don't have as long conversation with them as possible. Have conversations with good, powerful people that are going to help you grow your business. Now, be clear. Make your goals clear, crystal clear. Be clear about your goals. Share your goals, again, with your cheerleading family members and friends and people that know, love, and trust you. Share your goals. I want to help this many families each year. This is how I'm going to do it. And tell them, share with them, and have them hold you accountable. My brother, for instance, is holding us accountable with going to the gym. Every single morning at 7 o'clock, we need to be in the gym. He's going to be there waiting, looking, going, hey, what's going on? My point is, you're going to be clear with your goals. Why do you want it? Well, I think I want to sell my home, but I'm not sure. There's not a seller that I'm interested in working with until they have a very clear-cut goal. They want to sell their home. This is what they need to do when they do it, and so on. It makes it a lot easier. Now, accountability. I talked about accountability with my brother in the gym. Have accountability partners. Reach out to people that have the same similar goals as you. Maybe they're in real estate, maybe they're in lending or title or escrow. Have accountability partners that understand your business. We have an accountability workshop every single Friday at 10 a.m. You can go to meetwithrobert.live. You're happy to jump on, and I'll certainly share that information with you in the remarks here. So accountability is key. Share your goals with people that are fired up about you succeeding. And number 10, the most important, happiness. You got to be happy. You can't be pissed off all day long. You can't be sad all day long. You can't be stressed out all day long. You just got to relax. Don't worry. Be happy. You've heard the song. You got to smile. Mike Ferry told me this almost the first day I got in the business about prospecting. If you're like, oh, I got to prospect and you're all down, your client on the other line is going to feel that. So smile when you're prospecting. Smile and enjoy it. It actually worked. It worked great. I love it. So, Tim, we just went over 10 things that are powerful goals that we shared. What kind of thoughts do you have based on what we just went over that you'd like to share?
Well, one of the things that really stood out, and I'm just a huge believer in this, is just keeping things simple. Don't overcomplicate things. When I look at all the tools that are available to us as business owners, specifically CRMs, the problem with CRMs is that there's so many features and so many things. People maybe use 5% of what's capable, 10%, 15, 20%. So you're paying all this extra money for things that you're not even touching. And so again, you got to keep things simple. Keep your finances simple, your life simple, your relationship simple. To me, that is something that I wish I could tell my 21-year-old self. You don't need to be everything to everybody. You don't need to try to divide and conquer and do those things like that. But here's the thing, though. Let's talk specifically about real estate, because I've been fortunate enough to lead companies in different industries, from healthcare to finance to technology to real estate to the law. And the common thread in all of those areas is if you keep things simple, you're going to win. I remember one of the first jobs that I got as a C-level executive. My job description was like 15 pages long. And I joked with the board, and I said, here's one of the first issues that I see with this organization is that you guys have complicated some basic processes. A job description 15 pages long. I said, you know what? My job description should be 1 page and 1 page only. And in fact, all of the employees, no matter what position you're in, should have a 1-page job description so we can actually hold them accountable and identify what are the goals that are actually going to make an impact on their position and the organization as a whole. Real estate. How does someone create uncontested, market space in an industry that is very, very crowded? One of the things I wanted to ask you, Robert, real quick is new agents. I love talking to brand new agents. They're excited, they're fresh. They haven't had a lot of, struggles yet. So they're just really excited about getting started. But what are some of the biggest issues that you see, the most biggest problems a new agent faces when they get their license and they join, the industry?
I'm going to EXP certified mentor. So I deal with brand new agents on a daily basis. Most of these agents, Tim, don't know anything about real estate other than what they learned in practicing for their test. I find that the younger they are, the better it is because they don't have a lot of bad habits. I think the habits and the commitment and the clarity. I see, if to nail it down a little bit more focused, is time blocking. Most of these agents, when they're first getting started, they have full-time jobs at other companies when they're just getting started. And I get it. You got to eat. But I find that we need to find out what days you do have available to commit to growing your real estate business. You're not the agent that has a full-time job that's not going to be able to commit other than maybe a couple of hours a week is not going to have the success as somebody that does this full-time and that's all they focus on. It's just not possible unless you really maximize the small amount of time you do have. Mm-hmm. Learning is important. Learning contracts, getting a nice foundation. But actually getting a mentor is the number one thing I'd recommend. Get a mentor, somebody that can guide you and walk you through the process. Get a time block schedule, write a business plan, reach out and learn how to speak to your sphere of influence, people that already know, love, and trust you. But getting a mentor, Tim, if I could sum it up in just one word, mentor.
Yep. No, I mean, well said, my friend. And here's the thing too. What I love about what we're creating together, and talking about the program Legacy and Listings on Tuesdays is, for me, when I look at the real estate industry as a whole, and I look at individual agents and teams in market centers and offices, you hear a lot of, hey, we need to create more value. We need to create more value for our clients. But see, for me, and what you and I talk about, what we're doing is, it's not just about creating more value, it's creating new value to clients that have never seen something before, offering things that your competitors aren't even thinking about. To me, these are the things that I get excited about because, no pun intended, but if you build trust before the competitors show up. And I know that is one of the big struggles that real estate professionals have is staying in deep, meaningful relationships with their clients, with their past clients, because, let's be honest, most clients don't remember the agent that they worked with in a transaction. They just kind of like, all right, I worked with this agent and that was that. But see, this whole thing is really about helping, agents, no matter what level you're at, a veteran agent or brand new. It's understanding we're going to help you create new value that your competitors aren't even thinking about, and then taking that new value, allow you to build a deep, meaningful relationship with that person that's going to be very, very successful. And on that note, before I forget, this is something interesting. I had a conversation last week with two different agents on two sides of the spectrum. One agent, 20 years in the business, database of 10,000 people, kind of bragged about it, thought it was a pretty cool number. Great, that's great. New agent, new to a market, new agent, been in business for 1 year, 100 people in their database. Let's just call it their SOI. But see, here's the thing that you would ask though. Is the person that has a 10,000 database, is that business more successful than the person that's got a 100 person database? Well, on paper, you would say the larger the database, the larger the business, the smaller the database, the smaller the business. But here's the truth and the reality of business, no matter what industry you're in. It's not the number of people in your database, it's the depth of the relationships of those people in the database. If you have 100 people that you have real relationships with, and those people are going to be your biggest cheerleaders, and they're going to refer you business because you brought them something of new value that changed their lives, your business is going to be so much more successful than a person that's got 10,000 people in a database that they have little to no relationship with. So again, that's another example of keeping things simple, keeping it simple. So we're going to continue to focus and help agents understand that. And I'm excited about this program that we're embarking on.
I love it. And speaking of success, we need to celebrate our success. I jump on a lot of, I have a really large team with 20, 25 coaches. They all have their area of expertise. I like to do the online offers platform, working with FSBOs, expireds, and foreclosure. And I'm also an REO broker for those markets. Sometimes overlap, not always. But the good majority of the coaching calls I jump on, I support my coaches, and I'll jump on one of their Zoom calls. And the first thing we start off with is wins. Big or small, we need to share them all. Waking up today, that was a win. We all have wins every day. We need to make sure we're celebrating the successes, celebrate the small successes as well, like prospecting. I made a commitment, Tim, to my business plan to prospect today from this time to this time. Did I do it? Check, winning. Does that make sense? So we need to make sure we're celebrating the small successes too. Be able to look back at last year, take the successes from last year, carry them into the new year, and add on that. So anyway, celebrate your success. That's key. Speaking of success, so I think that's a big one. I interviewed over 70 agents who've averaged 100 million in sales in 2025, and the year's not even over. And they have a huge pipeline still to close. And you know what? If 99.9% of them all had the same thing in common, they're passionate about written goals, writing them down. They're really involved in information, what they're grateful for. They had vision boards. They all have exactly what it is they want, what it's going to take to get there, and a complete roadmap to make it happen. They all have their masterminds, and they're communicating with powerful people on a regular basis. Six leaves clues. Tap in and really make things happen. That's why I've created the More Listings Mastermind, Tim, is for a place for agents to come collaborate and really find out what's working. And so our ultimate goal is to promote, this is what works, do it. This is what I'm doing. See if it works for you, because not everything I do works for somebody else. I have no problem picking up the phone. I have no problem reaching out to sellers, FSBOs, expired, pre-foreclosures, attorneys, investors, probate, divorce. I mean, that whole thing, I have no problem with it. But not everybody is into that. We need to remember we need to make our contact. We need to write the amount of people we need to call each and every day, and we need to reach out to them and have real, genuine conversations of what you can do, like you mentioned earlier, Tim, about adding value. I think using your program, and that's why I like having you on. Now, obviously, you're a cool guy and I like you a lot, but you have so much value to bring to people. It doesn't cost anything. And it's another reason to reach out to your database. The number I remember, right? 87.3% of the homeowners don't have a living trust. That's a big, big number. So you can go out and talk to almost 9 people out of every 10 that you can help. That's a win. So I'm super stoked by that. So bottom line, success leaves clues. Now, in my opinion, the best way to set goals is actually have a concrete plan. Write it down. Put it down. They have in real estate a term in real estate. And Tim, you know this one. If it's not written down, it didn't happen. I'm telling you, write them down. And I'm telling you, when I used to study in the high school and college years, I'd always make some kind of cheat sheet, remind myself of the things that I need to really focus in on the test. And I have found that once I do all of that and I really focus in on what it is I need to learn for this exam, I didn't need the cheat sheet and I went in fresh and ready. Write your cheat sheet. Okay. So time blocking starts with time blocking. You got to have a time block set, again, from the morning you wake up until the time you go to sleep. I'm a big fan of taking Saturdays off. I don't want to work Saturdays. I like Saturdays for me. But what I have found is that's a really good day for most people to take off if you're going to take it off. But remember, if you're working with buyers, you're going to need to have some flexibility in your calendar. Focus on what it is you want and you got to have some flexibility with buyers, sellers, investors, and this is in this industry. So you need to make sure you're not too hard on yourself. Handle the business and then get back to your time block schedule. That's what a time block schedule is for. It's because we all get distracted. We all have creative avoidance, why we shouldn't be prospecting. Well, you know what? I'm going to go check the mail and then I'll prospect. We all have creative avoidance. If you put together your time block schedule, it serves, if nothing else, a roadmap of how to get back on track. So I encourage you to literally put down every appointment from the morning. In the morning when you wake up, put wake up. When you have to go take a shower and get ready for work, put it on your calendar. Make sure that everything is on your calendar because we need to make sure that we're constantly reminded of where we should be. So anyway, I always have the saying, if it's not income producing, it shouldn't be on your calendar. So get rid of the non-income producing ideas. 2026 is going to be a great year, guys, for those agents who are working in the right environment, who are focused on the activities that actually generate leads, generate business. They need to be disciplined in their approach. And here's another thing, sad but true, it's going to be hard for those who don't. They say that about AI. You don't need to be an expert at AI. You just need to understand how you can use the tools available. Get somebody younger. Hey, I've been in the real estate industry 40 years, man. I tell you, we didn't even have computers when I first started. And that's how long I've been in the business. I'm not saying that to impress you. I'm saying that to impress upon that we need to plug back in to our business. We need to learn time Set aside time for learning AI and learning all the tools that are going to help our business grow. They say AI is not going to replace the agent. What AI is going to do is the agents that use AI are going to succeed at a much higher level. That's all it is. And I know that's stressful for a lot of older folks. Or, oh my God, AI, it's everything's so fast. I'm one of them. My point is just embrace. Join us each week for the More Listings Mastermind. It'd be my pleasure to have you on every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. I host it. I have great guests. Tim comes on. We have our lender partners, our escrow partners, our marketing partners, our coaches. All 24, 25 coaches have been guests on our More Listings Mastermind. We are here and dedicated for you to grow your business. So I encourage you to remember this. Anyone can be cool, but take this. I want you to succeed in life. I want you to be able to do the things you want to do with your real estate. Don't just survive in real estate, thrive. I encourage you to book a 30-minute strategy session. Use the QR code. It goes right to my calendar. Let's schedule 30 minutes. Take a look under the hood and see what's happening. So with that said, I want to thank my good friend, Tim Yates. I tell you, having you on is always a pleasure. Take Tim up on his offer. Reach out to Tim. Use the QR code. Get out there. Reach out to Tim and see how he can help you grow your business. Tune in each week to the More Listings Mastermind. This is Robert Weichelt for another episode of the More Listings Mastermind. It's been my pleasure speaking to you today. And look for us on YouTube and Spotify. And have a great day. And remember, we'll see you in escrow.